Yo, what's up, son? This is your host, Mr. Yuck, and I'm back, baby. Last time, I showed you a 460,000 damage per second Demon Hunter on Master V. I've been really working to increase my damage per second to see if I could get up to 1,000,000 damage per second without using sharpshooter. And now, I finally accomplished that. So get ready, stay tuned, and check out this amazing Demon Hunter for the PS3 console version of Diablo 3. So my question to you is, are you ready for a 1,000,000 damage per second Demon Hunter? If you're not, just stop watching this video. If you are, then continue to keep watching. The second question you might be asking is my gear legit? Yes, it is. And later I will show that all of my gear is legit. And it is slightly different than the gear I have been using before. So let's jump right in. Here on Master V, we'll take a look. My overall damage per second without using sharpshooter. You will notice there is no sharpshooter. I'm using archery, steady aim, and perfectionist. No sharpshooter. 1,012,000 damage per second here on Master V. So let's mop these scrubs up.
I'm still waiting. My hatred is too low.
You gotta be saying, what the fuck? Is this guy really doing that much damage? Yes. Yes. Yes, I am. Alright, so now let's take a look at some of the most OP, legit gear in the game for Diablo 3 for the Demon Hunter. Let's start off with my quiver. Still using Dead Man's Legacy, but this one is a little bit better than another Dead Man's Legacy that I found. This one at 11% critical hit chance, at 18% attack speed, 300 dexterity, almost 300 vitality, a hatred per second, 10% maximum discipline. For my bracers, I'm using the Steady Strikers, 200 dex, a 9% attack speed, a little bit of life per hit, mad armor, magic item find, and a 5.5% critical hit chance. Keep in mind that I'm stacking 4 key things: mad overall damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and attack speed. Now my last build, I was using the Mana Core. It seemed really OP, but now I'm using it actually for a defensive build. Most of the time on the Mana Core, I can actually find vitality. And in this one, I'm actually using the Raven's Bow. It actually does way fucking much more damage. It really is unbelievable. My neck piece, Moonlight Ward. 504 dexterity? Are you kidding me? 174 intelligence, 8% attack speed, 17% life, 83% critical hit damage. 11% critical hit chance? Are you kidding me? Dex, attack speed, critical hit damage, and chance all in one item? Let's go. My headpiece, Mempo of Twilight. It actually ends up being a little bit better than Andariel's Visage. And I continue to use this piece over and over. 245 dex, 82 resist all elements, 10% attack speed, 30% life, and again, that's 6.5% critical hit chance. For my chest piece, I switched out Natalia's Embrace, and I went for the Beckinsale. Now, the Beckinsale has really low dexterity. I crafted 3 Marquise Emeralds into it, but the key on it is a 9% attack speed. It does have a 13% life and a 2% critical hit chance, and neg 4 damage from melee attackers, neg 4%. I took off my Vile Pauldrons and I actually found 7 Sins. 7 Sins has to be the best shoulder pieces for the Demon Hunter by far. Comes with strength, almost 470 dexterity, 130 intelligence, 250 vitality, arcane resist, resist all elements, and a 12% life. No way. For my gloves, I was using the Crush gift for a long time. It was some hand pieces that I crafted, but this time I actually went for the Sage Gesture. It's legendary gloves that you can craft, and in this craft it was insane. I'm telling you, these gloves are not to be fucked with. They are super OP. 190 dexterity, 180 vitality, 10% attack speed, more armor, 53% critical hit damage, and a 9.5% critical hit chance. Now here is what a lot of my damage comes down to. You can see a lot of my weapons on the left hand side. 3 different sets of mana cores and a cluck eye. All of them are overrated. I went for the Ravens Wing. And one reason is because I'm still using archery. It gives me that 15% extra damage. And the damage on this Raven Wing, 1,817.5? What? It's insane. Comes with an additional 7% damage. Increases attack speed up. A little bit over 1,000 life per kill. And it had a critical hit damage in it. And throwing in that Marquise Emerald will give me that extra 110% critical hit damage. Keep in mind that my mana core was really slow. I think it was at like a 1.21 attacks per second. And this will come in handy, especially for this build. The Raven Wing attacking much faster at a 1.67 attacks per second. For my belt, I'm using the Witching Hour. Man, super good. 262 dex, intelligence, vitality, 10% attack speed, more life percentage, and 52% critical hit damage. For my leg pieces, in his Temperance, super awesome. Normally people use it for the monk build, but I'm also using it for this build. 326 dex with the 2 Marquise Emeralds I crafted in. 10% attack speed, 12% movement speed. Melee attackers take damage at a 500, which isn't really important considering you're doing a million damage per second, but throwing in an additional 2% critical hit chance. For my boots, I'm going to be using Natalia's Bloody Footprints, 107 strength, a little over 420 dex, resist all elements, mad armor, and more movement speed. So I'm going to be moving pretty quick throughout the whole time I'm playing, which is really nice. So let's jump into our rings real quick. I'm going to be using the Wailing Host and Natalia's Reflection. Now the fact that I'm using Natalia's Bloody Footprints and this ring, it will give me an additional 7% critical hit chance for the set value. And Natalia's Reflection, extra damage, almost 200 dex, attack speed, critical hit damage, and critical hit chance. It's just insane. And the Wailing Host, 370 dex, more vitality, 50% critical hit damage, life per second, 6.5% critical hit chance, and more damage to elite enemies. So now you've seen that all my gear is legit, and we'll jump in to some of my OP skills that I'm using. Very similar to my last build, but with much more damage now. So before we get started into what type of skills I'm using, I am running solo party. And it's a really decent solo party build as well. I actually really like it much more while I'm playing online. And I'm running with a monk. I usually have somebody run a tank monk build. And so they can sit out and do a decent amount of damage, but soak up all the damage. And I just sit back and I'm just wrecking fools pretty much. I mean, I do so much damage, it's just fucking literally insane. But for soloing, how I've set up my follower is I'm still using the Templar, and I put no damage on him. Absolutely no damage. I mean, the only damage I really have is Sky Cutter, which is pretty OP. It summons an angel to help me fight, and that's one reason why I'm using it. Just so a lot of the damage doesn't go to me. It goes to either my follower or the guy that I've summoned. And I've just stacked pretty much a decent amount of armor and vitality into my follower. So he can get out in front of me, soak up the damage just like I was saying before, and then I can just wreck fools. So here's some more good shit. You see my followers out there. You just summon an angel. That chance to piercing through all these guys. You know, even the sentry gun is pretty OP now. And look at these guys. Chance to pierce, piercing through every single enemy at once. It looks like I had no hatred just a second ago. But boom, you can get back up to maximum hatred in virtually 2 to 3 seconds. Just insane. So on to my skills. Let's take a look at what makes my character so OP, doing so much damage, and what makes him so effective on Inferno mode on hardest difficulty. No dude really stands a chance. And let's start off. For my primary, still using Entangling Shot. Justice is served, increasing that hatred regen to 6 per shot. Comes in really effective because I'm not using Shadow Power or my companion to regen hatred. But unlike the crossbow, which my attacks per second was really slow, with the Raven bow, my attacks per second is insanely fast. And so by just using my primary and Justice is served, I can get my hatred from virtually nothing all the way back up to maximum in no time at all without using preparation. For my secondary, still using rapid fire, and you may have noticed on that last clip that my chance to pierce is insane. Turning all my arrows into poison damage, I still get that 40% chance to pierce through all enemies. Pretty much at least an attack every second pierces through every single dude at 1,000,000 damage per second. Taking into account that is not a critical hit value, and that's not my skills weapon damage. Now for rapid fire, I'm doing 440% pretty much. Weapon damage is physical. Now of course I've changed this to poison damage, so it's going to be poison, fucking 440% poison damage. But that pretty much means that I'm doing 4.4 million damage just using rapid fire. And that's not on a critical hit. That's insane. So on the Shadow Power. For Shadow Power, because the dudes literally do so much damage still on Master V, when they do hit me, it does suck. I mean, I've lowered my life down to only 80,000 life. And this is one reason why I do use a tank build. But for solo, I'm using Gloom. If I wasn't, and I was playing online, I probably would switch to... shoot, man, I'd probably either switch to Blood Moon or just Nightbane, where I could, you know, Nightbane, I'm getting that additional hatred per second. And then I would just be able to do more damage consistently without running out of hatred. But I don't really need that because anytime I do run out of hatred, let's say, you know, right here, I'm just burning a bunch of hatred real quick. You can see a little bit on my left sidebar right there. And you can see how fast it's going up right there. Boom, back up to maximum hatred. And so I don't really need as much hatred per second in my build. And so I opt for Gloom. It reduces the incoming damage by 35%. And so I don't get one-hitted by all these dudes on Master V. For my companion, like I've said, I switched out the Raven and went with the Boar. The Boar increases my all my resistances by 15% and gives me a little bit of life regen, 656, which really isn't OP on the life regen. But the fact that all my resistances has increased by 15% helps me not get one-hitted. For my devices, using the Sentry Gun, man. It seemed less effective when I had less damage, but now that I have 1,000,000 damage per second, look at that. It's, you know, 175% weapon damage. So, these turrets are just super fucking strong now. Still using Aid Station so I can regen a little bit of life while I'm staying in the wake of destruction. And, of course, still got to be going with Rain of Vengeance. Has a cooldown. It costs no hatred, costs no discipline. 800% weapon damage virtually over 12 seconds. And so you take into account an 800% weapon damage at a 1,000,000 damage per second. Which is, you're doing about an 8 million damage on a critical hit with this. And it's just stupid. It's just fucking stupid damage per second. So you got to be using archery. And with the bow, with the Ravens Wing, that 15% increased damage. You know, I've stacked mad critical hit chance and mad critical hit damage in my overall build. So two single-handed crossbows, extremely ineffective. the crossbow really isn't that OP now because I can just stack something else in any piece of my armor for that 50% critical hit damage. But it's hard to switch that out for a 15% overall increased damage. So, I mean, the Ravens Wing does seem much more OP than the Mana Core. Got to be going with steady aim at 20% increased damage for all dudes that aren't within 10 yards. So, obviously, why I like to stay back a little bit. Let dudes soak up the damage so I can output more than anybody else. And then Perfectionist. Reduce the discipline cost of all skills by 10%. Which pretty much is only used for shadow power. And my life, armor, and all my resistances up by 10%. It's pretty much my skill build right there. Now we'll get back out to mopping up a couple more. So if you thought at the beginning of this video that this guy is using modded items or armor or some shit like that, I've proven you wrong. And now you can see that you can have a legit character in the console version of Diablo 3, rocking this Demon Hunter at 1,000,000 damage per second. Rounded up a big old massive dude, and I'm going to lead off with mopping up a bunch of these guys, man. Hopefully you like this build, and hopefully a bunch of you guys out there can get up to 1,000,000 damage per second too. You know, maybe I'll see you online mopping up some scrubs as well. And so here we are, man. Grip loaded dudes out here. We even got some elites. I'm just gonna have my follower. He's soaking up all that damage up there. Pop out another sentry. Boom, 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 boom. I'm injured, but you're injured more, fool. Look at these guys. These dudes were just elites. What happened to them? I don't know, man. But they just got their ass whooped. Because why? Because they're scrubs. Every dude is a scrub to you now. I mean, what chance do these guys have? I'll tell you, absolutely none.
I need more hatred. That's that.
More hatred? Sure. Hatred in a second. Let's go. More guys. Take into account right here. Inferno Master V. Right there. Somehow my damage is reduced. I'm not really sure why the fuck my damage just got reduced. Huh. That's interesting. Let's take a look at that again real quick. Oh, it's back to normal. I don't know what the hell that was. That must be some glitch in the system real quick. But like I said, man,
Hatred is too low.
no guys stand a chance. Hopefully you like my character build here in Diablo 3. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, MrYuckForever. All one word for all my videos out there on Diablo 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, and I got my new shit coming out for Call of Duty Ghosts. Man, I'm wrecking fools, and I cannot wait to get my PS4 since Call of Duty Ghosts does not have theater recording. Tune in next time. This your host, Mr. Yuck.
Ah, get out of here! Oh, there's so many scrubs! Oh, look at all of them! You garbage! You garbage! Oh, you elite? You elite? You kill me only because you have reflected damage and I do too much fucking damage.